In today's video, we will discuss one of the most enigmatic books in history. This book was written centuries ago by an anonymous author using an unidentified alphabet and an incomprehensible language. Despite numerous attempts to decipher it over the years, even with today's advanced technologies, the book remains a mystery. It has become the holy grail of cryptography. Safely housed in the Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library at Yale University in the United States, the only known copy of this 240-page book exists. Recent carbon dating places its creation in the first half of the 15th century. Stylistic analysis of both the writing and illustrations also confirms its 15th century origin and suggests it originated in a Central European country. We are, of course, referring to the Voynich Manuscript. It is believed that Emperor Rudolf II of the Holy Roman Empire purchased the manuscript for 600 gold ducats, although no record of such a transaction has been found. What we do know is that the manuscript came into the possession of one of his advisors, the physician and pharmacist Jacobus Sinopius, whose signature is still faintly visible on the first folio. Since then, this famous medieval manuscript has changed hands several times before ending up in the library of the Roman College. It remained there for more than 2 centuries until 1912, when the collection that included it was acquired by antiquarian book dealer and Polish bibliophile Wilfrid Voynich. The book, measuring 9.4 by 6.3 inches, embodies one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in history, raising countless questions such as, who wrote it? What purpose was it created for? What language do its unknown characters represent? Its parchment pages feature hand-drawn illustrations that seem to come from a dream world. They blend real and imaginary objects, floating castles, bathing women, astrological diagrams, zodiac rings, and suns and moons with faces, all accompanying the text as we progress through its pages. Additionally, we know that the unknown language in which it was written follows Zipf's law, like other human languages. According to this law, in any human language, the frequency of different words follows a certain distribution. However, it differs from most languages due to its excessive regularity, which makes the combination of characters too predictable. Although the Voynich manuscript has been studied by numerous professional cryptographers, linguists, and codebreakers from both World War I and World War II, none have been successful to date. While we still do not know its meaning, various hypotheses have been suggested. One theory proposes that it could be an unknown language or dialect, and that the manuscript might have been created by medieval scholars attempting to devise an alphabet for this unwritten language. In this case, its content might be an encyclopedia encompassing the knowledge of those who spoke this language. Another theory suggests that it is a sophisticated cipher or secret code deliberately designed to conceal its meaning. Some have even suggested that it could be a hoax, where a language with no real meaning was created to sell the book at a high price, the work of a supposed medieval scammer. Setting speculations aside, upon first observing the manuscript, the initial point of interest is the cover, made of goatskin parchment. This cover, dating from the 18th or 19th century, is likely a replacement for the original crafted by the Jesuits of the Roman College. There are also indications suggesting that the original binding was made of wood and covered with tanned leather. The authors of the Voynich manuscript wrote on carefully prepared vellum. Although certain defects, such as concave contours, holes, and stretch marks are still visible, analyses conducted under a microscope in 2009, along with multispectral imaging done in 2014, concluded that there are no signs of previous writing being erased, indicating that the manuscript is not a palimpsest, a manuscript that preserves traces of earlier writings that were erased. It's important to note that vellum, made from carefully processed cattle skins to achieve a polished finish, was expensive. In antiquity, it was common practice to reuse it. However, according to these analyses, this is not the case with the Voynich manuscript. Currently, the manuscript consists of 102 folios organized into 18 booklets. Some of these double folios are larger than usual, containing additional folds known as foldouts. These foldouts vary in size, with widths ranging from 3 to 5 pages, instead of the typical 2-page width presented by a standard double folio when bound. Each sheet displays a folio number in the upper right corner, with the numbering ranging from 1 to 116. We know that the folio numbers were added by different individuals between the 15th and 16th or 17th centuries. Today, a total of 14 folios are missing from the manuscript, and the gaps in the folio numbering suggest that the numbering was added when the missing folios were still present. In 2009, radiocarbon dating of 4 samples from the manuscript revealed that the parchment was created between 1404 and 1438 with 95% certainty. This definitively invalidates the theory that its author was the Englishman Roger Bacon, who died in 1294. According to a letter written in 1665, Emperor Rudolph II acquired the manuscript, believing it to be the work of this friar, philosopher, and scientist who lived in England during the 13th century. Bacon was known to have a keen interest in cipher writing, so before the dating results, this hypothesis seemed plausible. Voynich also proposed the hypothesis that the seller of the manuscript was John Dee, a mathematician, astrologer, occultist, and advisor to Queen Elizabeth I of England in the 16th century. Dee was also known for owning a large collection of manuscripts by Roger Bacon. In 1582, John Dee partnered with Edward Kelly, who claimed to be able to summon angels with a crystal and hold lengthy conversations with them in a language called Enochian. This fantastical language was meticulously recorded by Dee. Because of this, it has been suggested that the author of the Voynich Codex was either John Dee himself or his partner Kelly, with the aim of selling it to Rudolph II for a substantial sum of money. In this case, it would be a forgery intended to deceive the emperor by passing it off as an original work by Roger Bacon. However, as mentioned earlier, recent radiocarbon dating places the manuscript's creation between 1404 and 1438. This undermines previously considered hypotheses, as it appears to have been created more than a century after Bacon's death and a century before John Dee's birth. Its 15th century dating had already been suggested based on an analysis of the illustrations. However, indications about its country of origin have varied, from Spain, Portugal, and Italy to Germany, with the latter two countries being the most commonly accepted today. The German origin theory is supported by the depiction of the zodiac cycle, as similar illustrations can be found in German manuscripts from the 15th century. On the other hand, an Italian influence is recognized in the calligraphy and the illustrations of the herbarium. Supporting this Italian connection is the swallowtail or Ghibelline battlement castle drawn on the so-called rosette page of the manuscript. This architectural style dominated northern Italy and is associated with the Scaliger family in the Verona region from the 14th century onward. Both theories about its origin are not necessarily exclusive, as the manuscript's origin could well be described as Alpine, with a mix of Italian and German influences. Focusing on its text, the Voynich manuscript was written from top to bottom and left to right, generally line by line, without the use of any technique to create straight lines, although the left margins tend to be fairly aligned. The text is structured in short paragraphs formed by groups of characters separated by spaces and rarely shows amendments or corrections. The words are generally 4 to 5 characters long, with single-character words being uncommon and words longer than 7 or 8 characters being rare. Among the texts, the labels written near the illustrations are also worth noting. Given their location and uniqueness, it has been suggested that they provide the name of the object depicted. Also noteworthy is the so-called strange writing, a term referring to the various types of additional writing found in the manuscript, sometimes featuring sequences of words in Latin characters. It is likely that these writings belong to a later owner who made these annotations. possibly while attempting to decipher the manuscript's meaning. Although the Voynich Manuscript's writing system is unique, many of the glyphs or letters bear similarities to other known languages. Some resemble Latin characters, while others recall Arabic numerals, which were also used in a variety of codes and ciphers in antiquity. A few characters have been associated with alchemical symbols, although it is uncertain if these symbols were in use at the time the manuscript was written. There is also a particular set of 4 glyphs, larger than usual, which have been nicknamed gallows characters. These often appear as paragraph initials and are sometimes ornamented with additional loops. Even more intriguing are the 2 initials highlighted in red on the first page of the manuscript, which do not appear again in the text. One of these is very similar to the old symbol for Aries, commonly found in Latin texts on astrology and astronomy, and sometimes used to emphasize the start of a paragraph. Additionally, the task of transcription is particularly challenging, as it's not always easy to determine whether 2 similar-looking glyphs are distinct or simply variations caused by minor defects in handwriting. Nor is it always clear where the spaces between words should be. This uncertainty about what constitutes a single character has been approached in various ways by different transcription alphabets used to convert the manuscript into an electronic format for computer analysis. The most widely used system today is the EVA, or European Voynich alphabet, which distinguishes between 26 basic characters and nearly 100 unusual glyphs that appear infrequently, possibly due to ornaments or tracing errors in known glyphs. In addition, with the exception of a few folios, all the pages of the manuscript are illustrated, while some authors have speculated that these illustrations may have been introduced to mislead potential decoders and that they do not correspond to the accompanying text. It is generally understood that both elements form a cohesive whole. As for its content, the Voynich manuscript is divided into 6 different thematic sections. One of these is the so-called botanical section, featuring illustrations of various plants and herbs alongside paragraphs of text that carefully border them, creating a composition not significantly different from other botanical manuscripts produced between late antiquity and the early Renaissance. It's worth noting that some plants display forms or structures that are fantastical or impossible to find in nature, such as stems that bifurcate and then rejoin or sprout directly from roots cut transversely. Others are adorned with elements that seem to have mnemonic or symbolic significance, possibly associated with the name or medicinal use of the herb depicted. For example, alongside these herbarium illustrations, we see small animals resembling dragons, 2 snakes, roots that look like claws, spread wings, a lion, and even human faces. This practice is also observed in other medieval botanical manuscripts. Another section of the manuscript is the astronomical section, featuring drawings of the sun, the moon, stars, and zodiac symbols. Part of this astronomical section consists of circular drawings filled with stars, scattered or grouped in radial patterns. In the center of these diagrams, faces of the sun, moon, or other stars have been included, with text flowing concentrically around the outer circumference. Another part of the astronomical section contains circular diagrams with zodiac symbols at the center and 2 or 3 concentric sections filled with small figures of nymphs or women, almost always nude or clothed with veils, hats, crowns, or elaborate dresses. It's worth noting that the zodiac does not start with Aries but with Pisces, which is highly unusual. Additionally, the illustrations of Capricorn and Aquarius are missing, as the folio where they should be displayed has disappeared. The manuscript also includes what is known as the cosmological section, which consists of geometric diagrams, mostly circular, that cannot be easily classified as either astronomical or zodiacal illustrations. The term cosmological was coined by William Newbold in his posthumous work, The Cipher of Roger Bacon, 1928. The most striking of these illustrations is known as the rosette page, a 6-folio foldout with a large circular drawing at the center, featuring 6 tower-like structures holding a plane full of stars, surrounded by 8 slightly smaller circular drawings. All of these are interconnected by what appear to be roads, tubes, and columns. The diagrams in this cosmological section have sparked various speculations, with some even identifying one of its illustrations as representing the Andromeda Galaxy. However, it is impossible for us to fully discern this neighboring galaxy with the naked eye, while its silhouette and some of its brightness can be observed under very dark skies in remote areas far from cities. Distinguishing its elliptical shape and spiral arms requires powerful telescopes, which were not in existence when the manuscript was created. Among the other themes, we also find a biological section, featuring drawings of small female figures with distended abdomens and prominent hips, their hair loose or gathered in headdresses, posing in various positions within what appears to be a complex network of pipes, vessels, and bathtubs transporting liquids. Sometimes these women hold objects such as a cross, a flower, or a ring. Some experts have classified the drawings in this section as the most mysterious and strange of all the great enigmas that the Voynich Manuscript confronts us with, as they have been associated with Galenic humoral medicine, the healing properties of certain plants, therapeutic baths, or even representations of human anatomy's internal workings. Additionally, the manuscript contains what is known as the pharmaceutical section, which includes 57 rows of small fragments of herbs, such as roots and leaves, aligned alongside other objects that resemble containers or pharmaceutical vessels. These containers are geometrically ornate, with several cylindrical sections that narrow upward or take on more intricate shapes. While some appear empty, others seem to store liquid. The simplest containers have even been compared to early microscopes. Finally, we come to the recipe section, consisting of 300 short paragraphs, most of which are accompanied by small stars used as bullet points. These stars, drawn in the margins, have 7 or 8 points with a tail and are painted in red, yellow, or black ink. Despite the incredible illustrations on most pages, their secrets remain hidden, as the accompanying text has yet to be deciphered. In recent years, several attempts have been made to interpret the language using artificial intelligence, but so far, no notable results have been achieved. Perhaps we will have to wait for AI to evolve further, or for a human mind to finally uncover the key to unraveling the manuscript's ancient secrets, secrets that have remained elusive for centuries, despite the efforts of countless scholars and experts. And if one day we do manage to decipher it, what will we find? Could it be the diary of a 15th century illustrator recording his dreams? The lost knowledge of a forgotten culture? Or perhaps a hoax created to swindle a wealthy monarch? What are your thoughts on this? Don't forget to leave your opinions in the comments, as this concludes today's video from Via Doctus about the Voynich Manuscript. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.